I just adore guitar history, because for me, sometimes it's even more important the history behind the people who made the instrument, and maybe the emotions behind the people who played the instrument, rather than the instrument itself. Because, it's a musical instrument, it's all in the name. Rather than arguing about like what wood is used, you should really think about what it brings into your life. And when it comes to Maton, and you start digging the history of Maton, of how it came to be, just, digging gold after diamonds, after gold after diamonds, because there is so much to discover. And I want to share with you today just the tip of that iceberg named Maton musical instruments. And it all started way back in the 1940s. Back then, Australia didn't really have any serial production of musical instruments, and basically all the guitars were imported from USA. And because of this long distance travel, the prices were pretty high, and not a lot of people could really afford this. And so there was one man whose name is Bill May, and he was like a semi-professional guitarist. He played like blues and jazz. And his full-time job was basically a woodworking teacher at school. And at some point in time, those two passions of him just naturally collapsed together, and he thought to himself, well, I should try to make a guitar. And it turned out to be much better than he expected. You may find this guitar today in the museum of Maton, actually. Short time after, he created his first workshop right in the garage of his own house. It was the beginning of 40s, and it was named Maton Stringed Instruments and Repairs. And he started making some prototypes, finding the core concept behind these guitars. And shortly after, his brother Reg joined him in 1946, and this is commonly said to be the beginning of Maton musical instruments as we know it today, like 1946. The name itself, Maton, it comes from the name of the founder of the company, Bill May, because May and tone, like the May tone, if you just drop a couple of letters, you can get Maton. I don't personally believe horoscopes or like numerology, years stuff, but when you stop for a second to think about it, at the very same time, basically with a difference of a month, on the other side of the globe in America, Leo Fender, the man himself, founded Fender. And so those happened basically at the same time. And there was always something truly different about Maton. Beginning with the location in Australia and the choice of timber, because being there, of course, they used almost exclusively Australian timber, which is dramatically different from anything else you can find in the world. And it's the same way today, the same way they almost exclusively use Australian timber. They use Blackwood, they use Queensland maple, they use different types of spruces, and it's all adds to the specific sound that Maton has. And by the beginning of 60s, Maton guitars started to spread all over the globe, over the Atlantic, over the Pacific, and you could find Elvis Presley actually playing Maton jumbo guitar AG100S. George Harrison of the Beatles actually used Maton MS500 for a year or so. And there was also Keith Richards, who used it on the famously recording of Jimmy Shelter. That's actually the Maton archtop guitar sound in this very own record. And in 1960, one 5-year-old boy got a present from his mother. It was also Maton MS500 and a Maton amp. And it was his really first electric guitar, which pretty much predefined his fate for years to come. And this little boy was Tommy Emmanuel. And so by this time, catalog of Maton was blooming. They was experimenting with all kinds of really crazy guitar shapes. They were making classical, acoustics, jazz guitars, electric guitars, striving to find their own specific type of sound. And a lot of their specific sound actually coming from location where they are. They are born in Australia. They grew up in Australia, and naturally they used Australian timber, which is radically different from anything you may find around the world. And it gives their acoustic guitars a really special kind of thing that is unmistakable. It's probably the reason why it became basically, you don't even need to name it. When you talk about fingerstyle guitars, it's almost exclusively Maton as the default choice, because it just highlights all the frequencies, all the strings, all the actions that you do on your instrument so brightly, so vividly, like your piano does, you know. And so by the 90s, Maton decided to mainly focus on the things that really sound special, that really highlight the character that Maton has, and this is of course acoustic guitars, because of this timbre, because of this different, you know, approach to guitar building, because they basically developed their own guitar body styles, which is nowhere else to be found, like this 808. You know, as I hold it like this, you may think that it's kind of like a full guitar, like a triple O, but it's much deeper. It's, the body is deeper, so you get more bass, and this is the body shape that is specifically developed for fingerstyle musicians, so you can have all the frequency range at your disposal, so you can do whatever. So you can have this amazing, you know, glass and harp quality sound, which is much like a piano. You know, whatever complicated chord you play, you get all those, you know, every string sound in its own little compartment, you know, absolutely clear. And when you pick up Maton for the first time after playing the, I don't know, after getting used to listening to music of 70s and 80s, where guitar sounds really warm, compressed, and full-bodied, it's astonishing at how bright and open can a guitar be, because just your regular E chord is something else. It's just... literally sounds sunny to me, you know, literally like this guitar was grown under a really bright Australian sun. And so focusing in this new direction, they opened actually a new factory. They moved to the new factory in Bayswater in the beginning of 90s, but it only lasted for 12 years because everything was growing like so fast. And just 12 years later, they had to build a new one in Box Hill, and this one was literally 4 times bigger, filled with all the latest and most modern equipment to streamline the process and make the guitars, to bring them even to a new level of perfection and uniformness, you know, so that every single guitar is absolutely top-notch. Till this day, there are no like laminated woods at all, so every single Maton guitar you find in the catalog, it's all solid, always. And it basically became the mecca of fingerstyle musicians, because all the legends started to come there to Box Hill to find the perfect sound. And there is Eric Johnson, there is Tommy Emmanuel, of course, there is Michael Fix, there is Shane Hennessy playing Matons, Miller Nebo, Andrea Valerie, there is Garrett Pearson, Joe Robinson, Adam Rafferty. Literally so much more of them. I can't really name all of them, but every single one of them is really known to use Maton, because its sound is unmistakable. And one more thing special about Maton is that it has always been a family-run business. So in the beginning it's Bill May, of course, but later he passed his doings, his work, to his daughter Linda May and her husband Neville. Linda and Neville Kitchen runs a business till this day, and they were actually the one who opened this new giant factory that is working. And it's actually, even though the factory is really big, the whole company is roughly 75 people doing all of this amazing job. And they are really conservative about the people who work there, because most of the guys are there for a very long time. There are some legendary people working in the factory, but this probably is a story for another video. But here at Acoustic Union, we tried to collect as much of those amazing instruments as possible, so you could really come visit and you know, have a little tour of your own. to give it a try, to explore, because it is literally guitars to explore. You know, the characters are so different, are so unique and so special that it takes time to take in. But as soon as you as you get used to it, it's the guitars that really hard to let go of. And so yeah, basically that's it. We have a lot of them in stock available for order. We work throughout the world, and of course we do complete setup. Because one more time, this is Australian timber that arrives from a long distance, and it requires a little bit of attention as it arrives here to make sure that the wood is right, that tension is right, that all the screws are tightened, and the guitar plays nicely and sounds perfectly as it's supposed to. You may find all the guitars available down there in the link below at ACOUSTICUNION.com. And basically, yeah, we ship wherever, and we also do always like a double layer of carton, bubble wrap to make sure that the guitar, even if it gets dropped out of the airplane, it will stay completely safe. So you may not worry about this part, because trust me, we are worried about this as hell. So yeah, if you have an opportunity, come visit us, but if not, we're always available at WhatsApp, Telegram, whatever, telephone, email. Just let us know and we'll help you with everything. See you in the next video. Ciao!